Hey guys, this is Locke. In this video, I'm going to show you how to progress through the Grave of Venom. We're going to start with level 4 and we're going to go up to level 6. Um, I did a video yesterday talking about how you can do Grave of Venom level 3, so if you are kind of stuck there, you can take a look at that video to give some tips and tricks on how to do that. But I will start with level 4. In the video I did yesterday, I actually talked about how you can basically scale the same strategy all the way up to 6, and that's basically what I'm going to do. So from the difference between yesterday's video and today's video, I have leveled up my Garius to level 70. Everyone else is still level 50, but I have made some change in personnel. I'm using Catherine now instead of Quarion. I'm using Rava, and I'm using this guy. It's the first time I actually ever used this guy, but he's really good for this stage. So it's Kaleido, and I'm just going to briefly go through his skills just because you might not have used him like me. But he's a healer. He is a melee healer, and he's really good for the stage now because you kind of need to have two melee units, right? I talked about that yesterday. This is kind of the setup that you really need to use, and you can't really get away from using two melee units. So that you have a melee healer here is, it's great. And as you can see, I'm not using anybody with any purple gears. I'm basically assuming this is the first time that you're going to be farming the stage, so you wouldn't have any purple items to start with. Um, oh, and I also set up this one, the edit skill timing. This is the timing that I'm using. The reason I'm using this is because all the heals go off at exactly the same time, so I staggered it a little bit so that there's more coverage with the heals. They don't all go off and overheal and like waste the heal, right? So I just staggered the heals a little bit. Um, you can kind of replicate the strategy, but I mean, okay, so high level, what am I doing? I'm basically using so many people as healers, right? I mean, I basically have four characters here that are able to heal. The only one that isn't able to heal is Rava, and Rava is, it doesn't really matter. I'm just using any DPS character. If you have like a legendary, you can use that legendary DPS. Uh, I just picked Rava because I have Rava's level skilled up already. That's the reason really why I picked Rava, but anybody would work. Um, and as you can see, I mean, Rava and my Warish is really doing the most damage. But aside from that, everyone else is a healer. So if you're trying to replicate the strategy with other elements, like say the fire and dark element or the poison and lightning elements, that's kind of what I would focus on. Like I would focus on having a lot of healers, shielders, things like that. And I mean, all of those pairs have healers and shielders to take advantage of. So it's not really lacking, and you really just need one or two really good DPS to make sure that you can beat this boss in the time limit, like the 5 minute limit or something that they give you. And that's really it. It's I think the main thing for me was figuring out the positioning, which I talked about yesterday. If you use that positioning and use two melee units, uh, when you scale up from level 50 to 70 and you start putting in the gears that you're getting from these, it shouldn't be too hard. You shouldn't spend too many days on there. But I mean, you know, let me go through it and go through like what I did to basically be able to do level 60. Sorry, not level 60, level 6 of this dungeon. But I hope you can kind of see that yeah, there's no problem here for me to beat this thing. So I'm just gonna stop this video now, and I hope you can take my word for it that this team right here is more than enough to beat this dungeon. If for some reason you're having trouble with level 4, there's a lot of room for you to improve. First thing you can do is you can raise all their levels up to level 70. That's very easy, right? Um, Next thing you can do is, I mean, uh, some of the stuff that I'm using on these guys is actually like mismatched. I'm not using the best optimal gear, so you can just farm level 3 a little bit more and get the optimal combinations that you need, maybe. But with that, I mean, level 4 really shouldn't be too difficult. Um, the only possible way I could see that you're having a little bit of difficulty is if you are a brand new player and you don't have the healers that you need. Because I mean, the healers, there are a lot of healers, but you might just be unlucky, especially if you're playing fire and dark. Because I don't think there is any real good healers for fire and dark as a ray unit. I think the you need at least epics. Uh, so for example, for fire, okay, so fire has the shielder, but again, the shielder is an epic. Where did you go? Adolphus? Yeah, this guy. And you find a little bit more choices with dark because you have basically this guy is Arloth, and you also have Thea. So you have more choices, but especially if you're playing poison and lightning, you have so much variety. So if you're playing poison, you have Farbath, you have Cypherus, you have Vikuk, you have Xandra. You know, you have so many choices. And with lightning, you have a lot of shielders as well that you can use to complement that. So if you're playing, I think that the easiest one would probably be lightning and poison, because there's just so much really good healers there to choose from, and you're more likely to have those units. But anyway, let's move on. So between 4 and 6. So how you would level this up is actually you would try to do one of the stages and watch it fail, and then figure out why it's failing. So I'm going to do level 6 right now with the exact same units that I was using before, and we're just going to see what's failing. And once we know what's failing, we can kind of correct that, right? So we can see here that, okay, so my what's his face? Rava. My Rava died because, I mean, he's level 50. He doesn't have enough HP. So I need to fix that. And as now I know what the problem is, I can do something about it, right? Because there is, again, as I said, there's a lot of room to improve. Um, if I keep doing this, I will also find out that my Voresh is also going to die pretty soon. And same with the guy, what's his name, the Caldor or whatever the other melee unit is. If I get to a stage where I beat these two poison balls and he's attacking the harpy, he dies, right? So basically, I found out that I need to level up some of these guys, and I also need to give them better equipment. So what I ended up doing was I kept farming stage 5 and stage 4 to get better gears that I was able to tackle it. So this is so through trial and error, this is what I found worked. So the first thing I needed was more DPS and also for Ori to not die. So I leveled him up to level 70. And I also found out that this guy, the other tank, when he joins up with Garius to tackle the Harpy, he also dies to the AoE because that AoE is going to hit both of them now. So I have enough potions to level up both of these guys to level 70, but also remember I had this guy, Rava, who also died. But I don't have enough potions to level this guy up to 70, and 63 is probably not going to cut it. So instead, I kept farming more of 4 and 5 and got some purple gears. I don't have a lot, but I have a few things that I can use. So as I said, I mean, I'm using unoptimal pieces. So I'm using accuracy. I don't really need accuracy. I just need him to do damage. I mean, I don't really care so much for frost. But I literally didn't have, like, if you take a look, I don't have good attack pieces. The one I had, I put on Warish. So instead, I was using an accuracy piece. So now I'm going to give him more HP. So he gets 3,800 more HP there. I'm also going to give him this one. So now he has about 18,000 HP. He should be able to survive just fine. I need to increase Vorish's damage a little bit. So I ended up giving him this. And finally, my Garius, his defense was lacking a little bit because, as you can see, he was also dying to the hits from that boss. So whatever pieces I got, whatever defense or whatever I got, I'm just using that. So I got this, and what else did I get? Sure, let's use this one because it has some defense and HP on it. I don't really need the attacking stats on it. So this was the changes I made between the two stages. It's not a lot. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. There's no attack HP. Sorry, yeah, there's no attack pieces or HP pieces. Like the percent. It's just whatever I just happened to have. I used it, and it seemed to work. So I did that through trial and error. And that's kind of what you will have to do as well to see how to get from 4 to 6. And I found I was lacking damage a bit, so I used a damage food, and that was all I needed. And this hopefully should work, and they don't die by some fluke. but that's really it. Like, you start with what you can do, you keep farming, you keep leveling up your units. Once you've hit the maximum, like, you've leveled up everyone and you have the best equipment and you still can't beat something, that's when it really starts to become a problem. But I think, as the game is young in season 2, I think there's a lot of room for a lot of people to go. So you also are able to farm, those crystals as well, right, for your team, and level up your main unit from, like, say 70 plus as well. So there's a lot of room for improvement. So there's a lot you can do to improve your team to be able to tackle this boss. uh, this is what I found. I started with level 50 with just a Garius tank and slowly added it to my team to make sure that I was able to get something that was able to beat this level 6 harpy boss. um, Yeah, I think ice and, well, okay. So ice and light, the radiance. The biggest weakness of this team is that there isn't a lot of good units with attack penalty. There are if you consider legendaries, but very few people have access to that. So when you're doing this, I think the best option that you have is really Clovis. So he's another tank that you could use instead. Uh, and I mean, sure, like, you could use him and he would work. Uh, but then you're giving up another healer to bring him. So I don't know. Like, maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's not. It depends on your team. Maybe if you have enough healing, if your healing is all covered, then you can bring Clovis instead to make sure that the boss doesn't do so much damage. Uh, but with the other compositions, the other elements, you have a lot more variety of choices to choose from for your attack penalty. I think the easiest element to play right now would probably be poison and lightning, because they basically have all their bases covered. They have good DPS, like, for example, Sigrid and Arena. They're both very good rare DPS, so everyone should have them. They have a lot of healing choices. They have some resurrection. They have attack penalty. I mean, they have a tank, Furbath, that is a good tank, a good healer, and has attack penalty, right? Um, so I think, wow, that was not good. I hope I can still beat this. Maybe not. Uh, no, I think I still got it. I mean, Warish is one of my main DPS, and I have like 2 minutes to just take this boss down. So I think I do. I when I did other runs of it, one of my units died, but two never died. So actually, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe I have to. Anyway, we'll see. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So the other units, the other elements have pluses and minuses. Uh, light and radiance, sorry, light and ice have a lot of good healing options, especially cheap healing options. You also have Quarion as well, which I'm not using. Um, and that's already like 5 healing options, and I'm sure there are more as well. And I'm not even looking at legendaries as well. But the problem is that they don't have access to attack penalty, good attack penalty, whereas the other elements do. If you're struggling to find an element to start with, I would suggest you go with poison and lightning, because you also have access to cheap rares that are very good. They're very good DPS rares, and both of them also have attack penalty as well. So I think that's probably the best element for people to choose. This is probably going to cut it close, but I hope you can see that you know it was probably a fluke that they died. That both of them died. But I have beat this before. I mean, as you can see, I already beat it. I was at level 7 when I started this video. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that within the 30 seconds I do get 93,000 damage. So you can see that I beat this. But it's going to be close. It's probably going to be very close. Maybe I might just cheat and use this stupid thing to do a little bit more damage. Okay, there we go. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you can see this is kind of how you would progress. This is going to be so close. 10 seconds. Wow. Come on. No. Okay. Oh my god. So close. 7,000. Okay, but I mean, this was a fluke, right? You can hopefully kind of see that most of the time this would probably work. I don't know what it was. I did beat this before with this team. Um, but anyway, that's how you do it. And there's still so much more room to go as well. Like I can still level up, both of the guys that died, I can still level them up to 70. And I can also, start farming at level 4 and 5 and get more purple gears and slot them with that as well to be even more easily be able to do this. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of how to tackle this dungeon, how you can go and progress through it. If you have questions or comments or anything you want to talk about with this dungeon, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care now.